you want to ring the bell and take the
Testing. Can you hear me? Bye-bye.
We can all hear you.
Sorry, I just
Adelaide.
Yeah. It's on? Yeah, someone died. That's why it's not here.
We're all there.
Yeah.
Mhm. We did. This is not.
Someone's on here.
Guys, that you're live streaming. Say hello.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hi, hello, the live streamers. Thank you for joining.
Hello and welcome to Sparrowland 2026 Producers Panel. Please welcome our special guests. Special Catherine and Danny Mulvihill. We are live streaming. Thank you very much for your patience, everybody. We had some technical difficulties before, which put us about 15 minutes behind, but we'll get back on track. We just don't need to listen to these guys for too long.
No,
Shutting them up is going to be the hard part, I think. Thank you so much for being here. I've just got to read out some bios. Dan co-founded Mad Dan Productions with Madeline Dyer and has built a strong body of work across comedy, drama, and socially engaging storytelling. His credits include Cabby Confessions, featuring comedian Matt O'Kine, Casa del Crip, created in collaboration with the late comedian and disability activist Stella Young, and Lovesick, a Trop Fest finalist. He co-wrote and produced Screen Australia's digital series, Sexy Herpes, which was acquired by Channel 9 and Virgin In-Flight Entertainment. Won Best Ensemble at Dublin Webfest and was later sold as a format to French-Canadian television as Sans Rendezvous. Thank you. Dan co-wrote and produced the feature film Savage Christmas, released theatrically and on binge in 2023, receiving a 2024 ACTA nomination for Best Indie Feature. A strong advocate of disability visibility, Dan continues to champion inclusive storytelling and underrepresented voices across screen projects, including Tender, Blood Sisters, and Boy I Am with Jax. You would like to tell Max's last name, sorry? Jehufa Rogers and their production company, Roaring Tribe. The second feature film that he produced and will be dual distributing with label distribution and Roaring Entertainment, always almost with you, and will have its international and ANZ premieres and theatrical release in 2026. Dan Mulvihill and
Thank you.
hopefully after hearing that, you guys got a lot of questions for that journey. It's a big journey, right? A lot of lessons.
Sorry if you had to read that.
I should have learned it. Giuseppe Casson is an executive producer and entertainment lawyer. He has represented a diverse roster of national and international artists and productions, working closely with producers on major film projects across Australia and worldwide. Whilst navigating both the legal and creative sides of the industry, he serves as the principal of his own firm and Cora Lawyers, while also co-owning the independent production company Six Mixing Chairs. Most recently, Giuseppe served as executive producer on the following feature films.
Just skip the first one.
Okay. I can't even try. An Affectionate Man 2021, Godless, the Eastfield Exorcism 2023, The Aegean 2024, Badland Rising 2026, Maserati The Brothers 2026, starring Jessica Alba, Andy Garcia, Al Pacino, and Anthony Hopkins. Giuseppe Casson, everybody. Thank you for being here at Sparrowland Short Film Festival. A lot of our audience members are short filmmakers and trying to break into and cross that threshold from making amazing short films and getting recognised as short filmmakers and crossing that threshold to making feature films and hopefully distribution and making money if possible. So you've made your advice for people here in the room. You made your successful short films, you have a script and a team. What then? How do we cross over to the next stage? What's the next step?
That's a big one. It's starting with a big one.
Started small.
No. What is the next step? I'll be honest. It's well done for you all making those shorts, because like that is how I know I started. I know that there's a new revolution of like people that don't even do that and go on YouTube and then make Obsession and Backrooms and good on them. And like the Raka boys, I'm like, wow, that'd be amazing. I wish I did that instead of film school. But also, I'm also happy that my journey's been my journey, and I'm proud of that. And it's been traditional in that sense, where I follow those pathways for making shorts. That then it was a massive leap to learn what it meant to finance a feature and make a feature as opposed to a short film, which was, I think, probably more pure and probably more love driven, and then feature, all these things came in, and I needed so many. I think you need like an infrastructure for a feature film, which is, but I think without alienating anyone, I think the step up for me is about team and concept. There's a really clear dichotomy for me, which is team. Who are they? Are they right for the role? What do they bring? Who does what well, and who complements who? And then what is the uniqueness of the concept that's going to stand out, particularly if you're going down the realm of like state and federal funding or territory funding, which wherever you are. Obviously, I speak Queensland, we go Screen Queensland, Screen Australia, but it's probably never been as competitive as it is now to get those funds in development and production for screen finance. So to answer your question, I think that to start with, I think that's what you need to do. Like, well, also you kind of need to be able to take your short film or script to and figure out how to commercially, without losing your artistry, like make it into a feature.
Okay. So you have a team, but you also, I'm hearing that the next step or one of the steps in building the team is that you need to have someone, at least as part of that team, to be financially minded, business minded. Would you say?
100%. I was just saying to Giuseppe outside, like, if you don't have that, and I call them the guardian angels, like I do, film angels, of like, if you don't have that production, like entertainment lawyer on that shoulder, and then that entertainment accountant on that shoulder, I feel like I would have just been this guy that was like, I'm going to do it. It's fine. And we all start that way, like whether you know, no matter who you are. But I think it's just really, really learning the discipline of like what the legal process is and what needs to be generated from that. Like, for example, like AFCA agreements. If you're going to make a feature film, you have to understand what.
You're taking Giuseppe's answer.
I am now. Sorry, man. And the account side, I think you've got to know like what are finance plans, budgets, like what is an accountant's opinion letter, what is a solicitor's opinion letter, which is I will defer to more expertise over here for that.
So you have to, if you're going to embark on the role of make a feature film, you have to treat it like a business. Yes?
Agreed.
Okay. Giuseppe, where do we start in setting that up?
Well,
give us the flow chart, guys. We want the flow chart.
Like, I said this the other day. I did a workshop somewhere else in a conference, and I said it the other day. Like, it's almost like you have to be more creative finding finance, figuring out the finance plan, than actually writing a script these days.
That's
like,
the hardest part.
It's like, and you know, like you said, like you need an accountant, and you need a lawyer, but you also need a producer that really understands how it all works. So sometimes you don't have to do it on your own. You can like collaborate and bring people with you to be part of the journey. With your project, like you said, like you got the concept, you know, but I think you have to figure out who your audience is today.
So there's a lot of people in this world that are embarking on their journey, and they think, okay, I've got a great feature film, I've got a great team, I know I can do it because I made a great short. Now I'm just going to go to Screen Queensland for money and wait for that funding. And if nobody's going to give me money, why not? Like, is that the way to go or no?
It really depends on the strategy. Like, for example, if you want your budget to be, if you want to reach a certain budget level, then you might get, producers offset and things like that. But
back it up. How do you decide which budget level you want to?
Well, it depends on what equity you can raise. And that's the hard question.
So is that the first step?
Well, yeah, because like you need to figure out how much equity and how much, like obviously, like if you apply for all the funds from the government, you tell me if I'm wrong, but you can get probably like 50 to 55% of the budget, roughly, depending if your film is eligible for it. But now you have like 45% that you have to raise through, your parents' credit cards and your cousins and whatever. So how do you do that? And for you to do that, you need to figure out what your audience is, so that you can create a connection with telecom. But it's what they're looking for out there.
So you want to make a car movie, you go to the car people that love cars and get it financed that way?
Well, the thing is, it's like, well, like who's gonna watch your film, and why would a sales agent give you estimates that you can get a loan?
When do you approach a sales agent?
Oh, yeah, this is a big question. Now that I've come from, as you know, Carol, like back in the day, acting, writing, producing, now distributing in Australia and New Zealand territory, and then obviously trying to find who are the sales agents that I can, like, you know, meaningfully connect with, or who we work with, and you know, having my third, I guess, feature now in post, and then the second one about to launch. It's like I have learned an enormous amount about when do you get them, well, as early as possible, to be honest. And it's also becomes a question now. I feel like a bit of the coalface. The last two features I've produced and distributed side by side under great mentorship of people that have been in the industry for a long time, like take Brady from Label Distribution. Ben McNeil, my business partner, Max, is obviously a lot newer to it, but has a very distinctive skill set as well. And there's a lot of what I've found was obviously we're still struggling to find a sales agent for Almost With You, even though it's like we had an international premiere in Galway in Ireland because it's an Aussie-Irish like romance drama, and then with a half Aussie, half Irish like writer-director.
So you've made the film?
Yeah, we made it.
And then you go to the sales agent?
Yeah, because it's really hard to get them up front. Like, to be honest, unless you are coming with like that writer-director or that above-the-line team or that cast, like that's going to still move the needle. Like I know, I wish we would learn more from obsession and backgrounds as well, but people are still caught in that realm of this is what it takes to like they're still caught in the realm of the traditional, because no one wants to sort of like deviate and feel like they have to, I don't know, sort of come at things a different way, which obviously they would, because there's so many different ways that can be made and avenues to finance. But I think, yeah, getting, oh man, if you, the ideal scenario, even for you guys, right? Like if I was looking at it now, this is probably a better way to answer this without me babbling, is to go, well, okay, I'm about to make my first feature. Awesome. What do I need? All right, between 200 and 300K private equity. You know, I mean this. This is something that we literally did Almost With You. We taught Tate Nye, I think, as producers, and me learning under him as a distributor. He knows nothing. This is great for you guys. He knows nothing about the offset. He knew nothing about how to do that. He didn't know that you needed an SPV, like a special purpose vehicle, and you couldn't just like make the film. Does everyone?
Well, I mean, I'm just learning about this the last year, so I don't know if anybody else knows about the SPV or the offset, etc.
Does everyone know what a special purpose vehicle is? Yep.
Some yes, some no. No?
Okay, so it is.
So, like, back it up.
Yeah, okay. So no, it's a proprietary limited kind of company named usually after the film or the TV show that.
Setting your film up
exists.
as a business.
Yeah.
I'll just add to that. It's very important to set up an SPV because, for example, if you're going for the offset, you can set up like an account, like a zero account or whatever, and then you know what's being spent in that company, and then it's really easy for you to claim the QUAIP. The QUAIP is what is it? The qualifying Australian
Production expenditure.
Yeah, which is
So if you qualify, you want to get 45% back from the government, or 40% of what you spend.
If you go theatrical,
Yeah.
30 if you don't go theatrical. Sorry.
But no, he's right. So 30, you don't even have to have a theatrical release. You still get 30% back on your budget. But he's right. So what it acts as, because if your production company owns it, right, you're the rights holder. So you want some distance between that. This is why that John Howard back in 2006, when they changed it from the Film Commission to Screen Australia, changed.
I didn't mean to back it up that far.
Introduced this as a way of like, you know, making sure we made stuff here and we didn't like just offset it all to the Americans or whatever, right? So it was an incentive, you know, a tax rebate that would be the safest money you could ever get back from the government, correct? And so like that meant that's why it became important. But yeah, everyone wants that extra 10%. You don't want just 30. This is why you want to go theatrical. But if you go theatrical, you have to sort of, there isn't a limit. They haven't actually, Poku have never, which is producer offset office. We just call them Poku. Everyone does, right? So just so you know that.
Poker or Poker?
Poku. Okay. So they are the ones who decide whether, like, you know, it was made as an SPV, and they're the ones who then go make sure the film, like, maybe it's called the Living Dead or whatever, that becomes your proprietary limited company, the SPV, that then makes the film. And as long as you can prove that all the way through, and you've got all your contracts meet spec, and your finances meet, finance plan, the budget, and everything like lines up, which you can do. Don't let it sound too like freaky,
Pay
because
everyone what they're worth.
just pay them what they're worth. Just look at the minimums for Spa, for Australian Writers Guild, for MIA. If you can just follow at least Spa, you'll be fine. And do you have a safety plan? You know, all these sort of things become this compliance that we had to put around this lovely like WA filmmaker who just made stuff outside the offset, just outside the system, didn't want to borrow it. It was actually, we had to drag him kicking and screaming through the offset process because he was like, fuck this. So I was like, no, I'm gonna lose money. It's like, dude, and then, okay, the next part of that was like, he had 275,000, right? Which is a lot of private equity to raise, but his other films had never made anything back because he was just leaving money on the table because he didn't I guess have us producers like us who could turn that 275 into 1 million. Now, how do we do that, Giuseppe?
Okay, so you got your parents' credit cards, you got $270,000. Yeah, so it goes to $1 million because normally a film, roughly, right? It's hard. It's like every film is different, but 75% of the film is made on debt, right? And 25% of it is equity. The difference between equity and debt is equity is real money, debt, they're loans. It's loans from the bank, for example. So, for example, if you can raise 55% of a film through the government, that means that they will give you a provisional certificate. If you apply for POCU, you apply for all that stuff, and it goes through, they give you a provisional certificate.
You need a distributor to have that.
Yeah, you need a distributor. So you need a distributor.
This is what we got qualified for just in the last 6 months.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
why you're here.
Yeah. So just getting the provisional certificate is already like it's a huge step. So what do you do when you get the provisional certificate? You go to the bank, not any normal bank. You have to go to a film bank, and then you can get a loan against that 55%. So now you've raised 55%, plus you have the equity there, which is another 25%. So you're what, 80%. So you have a gap. And that's the hardest money to find sometimes. And there are funds that might give you that money. There are, sales, maybe you can go to a sales agent and they can give you some estimates and you can get a loan against those estimates, which is really hard to do. Pre-sales in 2026 are like dead. I'm not allowed to say that they're dead. Like the market's really weird out there, like to get pre-sales. So you want to explain what pre-sales?
Yeah, well, it's just someone who knows usually the above the line team or the cast, we would include that, and have a track record, and we'll put money down as a guarantee to we're going to buy this.
So they say, make it, if you guys make this,
Yeah.
then we guarantee
Yeah.
that we will pay.
In this territory,
entire reward.
UK or America or North America, yeah, we're gonna,
Minimum guarantee.
yeah, basically, yeah.
And then take that to the bank and borrow against that.
I'll just add something as well. Getting a post house is very important. So you team up with a post-production house
In Queensland, we've
in
got,
Queensland because you can get the PDV as well, which is
It's
15%, but you have to spend
Queensland.
quite a bit of money as well.
okay, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else, but I think maybe it's a big pool, right? And that's why a lot of people get scared to jump in from where we are now to the feature film. So I would say that can we take it to the audience and ask like individual questions that are relevant to you? But before then, where do we go to find, where have you found it at? Just along the way, or is there one place like Spa or a convention or something that just kind of opens your mind and go, oh, fuck, now I get it?
Sometimes you have to get like the professionals that have done it before that can hold your hand and take you through the process.
Find a mentor.
Mentors,
100%.
huge thing in the film business. Find a mentor, hang out with them, spend time with them, follow them around, work for free, do what you got to do. Finding a mentor is so important because they will hold your hand and help you, and they will, and there's so many people out there that have done it, that have been through it, that want to give back. And so if you go, I want to make this kind of film, well, who made it? find out who made it, and then reach out to them, and then go, hey, I want to work. That's what I did in the legal business. Like there was no entertainment lawyer when I was learning how to be a lawyer, so I found an entertainment lawyer found entertainment lawyer, and I just said, hey, can I work for you? It's like, how much you want? Like, I don't want anything. I just want to learn. I just want to learn. So that's how I kind of got into it. Like, and that was a huge, all my lawyer friends are out there getting full-time jobs, and like they all have money, and I'm just like falling around, another entertainment lawyer and learning from him. And that's what I did for like years.
I'm hearing that a lot across all the departments of filmmaking. So let's throw out 2 questions in the audience who have specific ones. We've got a distributor, an entertainment lawyer, a producer, an executive producer at your mercy. Just chuck some questions. Or we can just let them keep talking. I'm sure they do.
Hi, hello. My name is Finn. Nice to meet you.
Maybe Finn, screw forever.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a question for you, Giuseppe. I was just curious, did you end up, to become an entertainment lawyer, did you end up having to study law, or did you end up doing some sort of like short course in law? What makes you qualified, other than the experience, of course?
So I was producing short films, and then I sold the paperwork that went with that, and then I was like, I don't understand any of this. So I'm going to law school. So I went to law school. I went to QT. But then I did law, and then I did the PLT, which was to become a lawyer, and then I became a lawyer about 9 years ago.
Yeah, thank you.
But in law school, they don't teach you about entertainment. So they might teach you. I have one of my interns here as well, Ava, who's like, it's like they teach you intellectual property law, which is like covers a bunch of things, but not really. So you have to kind of find people in the industry to guide you through it. And and now she's got the mic.
Hello. Yeah. I decided Giuseppe was talking for too long. I am about to graduate law school, so I can talk from first-hand, very recent experience that, there's no entertainment law experience at all provided. So if there is anyone in here that wants to torture themselves by going through law school, definitely focus very much on contract law and property law, are very, very important, and also statutory interpretation, which I think a lot of people hate, but very important part of law. And as long as you've got those foundational skills and someone that's good like Giuseppe to guide you through, you'll be all good.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrew Barlow. I have a question for Daniel.
Make it an easy one.
Well, so I'm a filmmaker at the moment, and currently in the I have film career here as well later in November.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you were talking about backgrounds and obsession, how much you like, where they came from, and Michael Blanca and everything.
Yeah.
And when you were in perhaps this a similar position as I am in, or people going from, say, having studied and having their films out, getting in the indie scene, and going from self-funding your projects, and where you are now, how did you handle being in this position and to get to where you are now? What steps were you taking, or what happened, who did you meet, or what kind of projects were you had to?
Sure, that's a great question. It's a big one. Yeah, no, I'll try to be brief. Well, yeah, that's right, Karen. We're gonna keep one-year-old diversity on the track. Very, very big question. I did feel like I was, we at the time, I think Madeline Dora and I, because we'd cultivated a creative voice over such a long time, and she'd gone on to do Ghosts and Colin from Account. She's killing it, and I'm really proud of her. It's really awesome. No, but I'm in the indie world still. But like what your question was, I feel like I always tried to shout mentors or prospective mentors coffees and stuff and go like, hey, can I meet up with you and talk to you about this and that? And that's where I actually sort of, back in almost 2009, showing my age as well, that I was like in my 20s, late 20s. Who knows? But I had certain people that I was like, I revered, that I like loved what they'd done, and I'd said, can you meet me for coffee? Why shout? I just want to do this and this and that, and I just want to talk to you about this and this, and got these projects, and I'm really excited about them. And what I would do is with like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So what I would do in that sense, and I think Maddie and I were lucky that we knew people that probably had like disposable income, or also were quite like family friends that were like wealthy and stuff too, or had businesses, and we would kind of like, without being psycho about it, we'd sort of like clock into like who might be wealthy and want to product placement, and who might want to like, who might be attracted to this story because they might have a connection to it where there was a philanthropic angle. So there was always like, I think that's where the salesperson and like the hustler in me like was just like really, yeah.
We sell like EP credits. People, there's some
Oh.
people that would want an executive producer credit.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, look, investors should always like, but by rights as distributors, you get EP credits because you are like taking risk, and the risk is reward, and so are investors and people that have earned them. I mean, I'm not one, and I've learned this from a lot of mentors, giving away credits that haven't been earned. But when you're putting money in, absolutely they're earned. And when you're putting risk in, absolutely they're earned. So to answer your question, it was a big leap. I'm not going to lie. It is a significant leap from short to feature, from my experience. But it's not insurmountable. I knew early to go lawyer, accountant. And I just knew that like, if I needed to go, what do I need for this? To meet AFCA, and they always change every 6 months. Like there's an update on January 1st or July 1st for the AFCA agreement for feature films, for example. But as long as you get a template and a great lawyer like Giuseppe to go, here's the template, you can now circulate this within all the crew, or there's going to be different things for actors. If you've got, actors that are significant, Giuseppe, you might want to speak to this.
It's really important to get your head around like how contracts work, and it's like what clauses to look out for any kind of transactional contract in a film, for example. And then, but not only that, like learning the terminology. Like I don't know, we might have said a bunch of stuff here today that you might not know, or you might know, but the other problem that happens is that the definition changes depending on what country you're in and who you're talking to. So you got to make sure, like for example, in the US, they say certain things that might mean, it's not exactly how we interpret it here. So it's really important that you start. There's so many books that you can buy as well that you can read. So like, if you're a director, I'd say get your head around it. Because if you're a director that understands this, you will be like, not just a director, you'll be like an amazing director. because it's not just about the creative aspects of filmmaking. The bureaucratic aspects of filmmaking is so important today because everyone's risk averse. No one wants to throw money in your project. And why should they? So that's the big question. Why would anyone put money in your film? Why would anyone take a risk in your film? What are you doing that's so different? Like I receive so many scripts every week through my production company and my law firm, and a lot of the scripts they're just like rinse and repeat. It just feels like it's always the same thing. What are we doing that's different? Why should anyone take a risk on your film? And also like it's very risk averse at the moment. So like I was in Cannes Film Festival last year, and like you're talking to the lenders, you're talking to the sales agent. Everyone's like they're holding the cards really tight to their chest. So you got to build those relationships, understand the terminology, understand how contracts work. I'm just rambling now.
Place to start.
No, it's really important. Sorry, did that answer your question? Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so you just briefly mentioned that there were some books or resources that helped you get your head around it.
One book, Facebook.
Just, yeah.
There's like a book called, I think it's called Deal Making. paper, I don't know, deal making, contracts in film.
Giuseppe's book list online tomorrow.
Honestly, I spent like $400 on books, like, and I have them because they're so important. And then I give it out to the people at the firm. Like we have like a thing we call the Incora Lawyers Library, where we're always moving books around, and you got to always bring them back. That's the thing, But we're always looking at these books, so that they're like the reference that we have, right? Like, and if you don't have access to a lawyer or an accountant or a mentor, like these books are really helpful. And I know that sometimes it's like, like some people they don't want to read these books. They're like, oh, I don't get it. Oh, I'll make it. But these books are really helpful for you to learn the terminology and get your head around the process of filmmaking. But you got to be careful though, because like the industry moves really fast. The technology is changing. The distribution is changing. Every it's changed so much since you started. Since I started, like everything, no, but seemed like but just in the last 2 years, 3 years ago, there was the strikes in LA. That kind of like changed a few things, like
Stay on top of it.
stay on top of it.
You want it, you have to stay on top of it.
No, you
Federico?
do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Yeah, Federico.
Hey guys, again me. Yeah. It's been a little bit ago. No, I was just thinking about because me, I have always felt like I'm a one-man band. Like I have to do the whole thing in order to get the things done. But I always feel like how you did when you were probably starting like me, like everyone, and you have to negotiate what you really wanted to tell and what you was supposedly sellable. Because what happened to me before is like people would give me look, I sold half of my vinyl collection to pay the sound of this project that I did here, and people said, "Oh, that's terrible." I don't care. They just need to make a film, and this is for the second one as well. Probably I'll have to sell the other half. Yeah. But where is the part that I can, because they say there is no money for short films, it's only money for features, right? But where is the part that you, or how you started, where you were in the realm of doing short films, you were self-financing, financing your films, and when you go to the other part, do you have to negotiate the fact that what you really want to tell, or what's sellable? How is that transition? Because has been very difficult for me. Sorry, it's a lot.
No. So, but shorts, we never had to compromise. We got to tell the vision we had, and we had people that we approached, whether they were family, friends, or business people we knew, who were just happy to support us, and they just hands off. Here's the money, come and do it.
He's right though, you're never going to make money out of short films.
Absolutely right. Sorry, and there are some people that there is a producer once like 10, 15 years ago. Like, I've made money in the shorts. I was like, wow, you're the only person I've ever heard that from. Because I was like, I haven't. I made like 5 of them at the time, and I was like really annoyed. But because I was like, well, good for you. How? But I think there was some pre-existing relationships you had that meant that there was a proof of concept for a feature as well. So everything led to long form. So to be honest, everything still for me leads to long form. Is the only currency for sale is feature film and TV show from what I know, unless you're a YouTube sensation that has a massive volume.
Can I ask, on top of Federico's question, a lot of people would go to market it for where you are now. If you've got a few script ideas or a few story ideas you want to tell, then you go to a pitch market, for example. But don't just pitch one. Have an idea to pitch a few, right? You have a slate of projects, and they give you 3 or 4, and you're talking to these people. No, I don't like that, but what else have you got? And they talk, and you will keep pitching until you find someone that's interested in one of them.
And not too many. I reckon 5's a max at a market. But I do want to speak. I have an anecdote after I'm going to throw to Giuseppe about Savage Christmas, because it was my first feature, and it was a really, really eye-opening process from short to feature.
Just to add to, you said you feel like you're a one-man band. It's really hard because filmmaking is a huge collaboration. There are so many parties that come together. In a feature film, it's like it's like setting up a startup. Every time you make a film, like we're talking about the SPV, you start a company, and you got to bring money into that company, and you're hiring like 200 people. It's madness. And then you do that again after 2 years, and do that again after 3 years, and the budget keeps going.
Dissolve the
Yeah.
SPV,
Yeah.
then the rights holding production company obviously retains all the rights in the future.
Yeah.
But that's how you get the offset, 30 or 40% back.
So it's really important that you find your team behind the camera, in front of the camera. Also, like the service providers, like lawyers, the accountants, the distributor. Post-production is so important. I didn't know anything about post-production, and I worked at Chop Shop Post, for example, for a year. Why is a lawyer working at Chop Shop Post? So like I went way out of my way to learn about post-production because that was like a huge thing that I was like, I don't understand that, or I really want to get my head around it. And after working there, like I learned so much from those guys because you're learning how films are packaged. And you know that the film, like, you know, quality control, like, you know that your film's going to get to a standard, that all the deliverables are going to be up to a standard. And that's really important because everyone's like, oh, I'll just, you know, edit this film from my editor's bedroom, you know, like, or, you know, or they're grading it, they're color grading the film on some random screen that doesn't really meet the specs. So you gotta, like, there's so many, and sound as well, like sound's so important. So finding those players in the industry, learning how to collaborate with them, learning how they work, is really important. So if you're feeling like you're alone, like start reaching out to those people. And if you're not getting the best feedback with your work, which happens, you know, figure out why is that happening? Why aren't people wanting to collaborate on this project? Oh, maybe it's because of this. I'll change it, fix it. And because it's such a huge collaboration, you have to be really open-minded as well. But stick to your vision, but at the same time, try to understand why people are giving you certain kind of feedback, especially if they've done it before and they've been in the industry for a long time. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question, and then you can hit them up at the bar.
Yeah, we'll be there.
One more.
Hey guys, I have a question. Do you have any advice to filmmakers who are thinking of going to SPA next year, and what are the sort of main things that we bring to it, and what are they looking for exactly? Like how do we get prepped for that time?
Screen forever?
Yeah.
I love this question because I'm like old. I feel like I've got to the point where I've been in sales so much. I'm like old Gil from The Simpsons, where I'm just I don't answer the phone anymore. Yeah, that's what we met. Yeah, we did, and I was probably doing it like an endearing old Gil. Who knows? But to answer that question, what it's such an interesting thing for being in sales for such a long time, and I think now, like, it's just really knowing the essence of that project. And just even you have to rehearse it, just rehearse every pitch, just so it sounds supernatural. I should go, yeah, so it's just about, even though you know you actually memorized the log line like crazy in your head, I would say at all those things, the best thing I've ever done has just been like, how's the family? How are you? Like, yeah, I think it's the casual chat, but I think it's the anti-old Gil from The Simpsons, which is more less desperate, and just be like, hey, I don't care. It's more James Dean. Like, we're going, how are you? How's the family? What's going on? Like, yeah, cool. And just like, and then gradually going in, I said, what do you got? Oh, what's happening? And oh, great. Yeah, well, it's about this woman who, you know, and then you've rehearsed it. And it's confident, but it's also just a long one. And then for me, the next person that speaks loses.
Would you say that the only reason to go to Screen Forever SPA is the conference, the SPA every year, is to pitch, or is there other things you can get out of it as well? Would you go before you had something to pitch, or only go if you've got?
Oh no, I think you go both. Like, if you don't have anything to pitch, go to all the panels. But for me, and I know Giuseppe's like, we're really wanting to go to that MG Cafe and just back-to-back meetings if we can with as many of the players as possible.
Like, for example, from my point of view, I go to those events to meet with the players in the industry that are making films every year, you know what I mean? So like the distributors, post-production, you know, all the producers, directors, writers. So because you end up with a network. The industry is very small all over the world. You'll go to Cannes, you'll go to TIFF, I don't know, Tribeca, all those places, and you will see the same people. Happens all the time. Like, so once you start going to these events, you will start seeing that there's a little network of, people. The industry is very small. So be careful.
No, be careful, but you also really do have to like reach out months in advance and do what I do, the squeaky wheel Dan thing, which is like cold call and email and just be okay about it and just be like super lovely about it. That's all I do. That's my biggest piece of advice I should say is just be really. Maybe because I worked in a call center for so long. I just used to do that. I just used to go, hey, I'm so sorry, I know you've got a full slate and blah, blah, blah. And I used to do it all the time, like literally for like the last 20 years.
So like book your meetings, like, have like, oh, can you do 10 a.m. on Tuesday? I'm going to be there. Because then you're not just like, it's not like a lottery. You're going there and you're like, you know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
A lot of people might say no, but a lot of people might say yes. And your name keeps coming up if you keep trying.
And I have to say, Screen Forever, the Spark. Are you all aware of Screen Forever, the Spark conference? Screen Producers Australia has it every year on Gold Coast. The first time I went, it blew my mind. So I didn't have anything to pitch, it just blew my mind. And the panels are great, and you get to, as you say, you get to realize that this pie in the sky kind of imaginary place where people get money to get films actually exists, and they actually have faces, and they're actually really real people, and they're real people that go to these things wanting to invest in films. So that's what changed my mindset to, I can actually do this. So I didn't have anything to pitch the first year, but I was so confident the next year because I've seen it all before and I'd been there, and I had a couple of people that I could say, hey, I saw you last year, but I had some friends, so I felt better, and the second year I pitched. So I don't know if that helps, but I do recommend that as a conference.
You're a boss. You made your first feature as well. Like, how good is that?
On that note,
It's really interesting because like there was this distributor that I knew for like really good distributor. I've known him for like 4 or 5 years, and I didn't pitch him until this year. And I like had met him so many times, and this time I was like, hey, can I pitch you? And he's like, oh, what do you got? And I'm like, dude, this is gonna change your life, And then I pitched him, was like, call me, like let's, and so it's like I built the relationship before I even pitched him. You know what I mean? So you don't have to always just go, what's the exhibition of the
IMC, which is I go to visit the distributor. Like, I've gone the last 3 years, and they hated me in the first year. Second year was
distributors
okay.
conference.
Now I'm like,
I'd suggest going to that. I know a lot of distributors might hate me for saying this, but I suggest going to that because you see what all the distributors are doing and what is being released for the year. So you see, Disney, Netflix, I don't know how to do that, but like Maslow, like all the players, like they're all there releasing the films, and you kind of see the pattern on what they're doing. So then you can go, oh, this is what they're, that's what they're doing.
Honestly,
That was really good. I agree. Because when I went the first time, I was like, what is this? This is awesome. Like, this is great. Like, why haven't I heard of this?
No, it's true. No, it's true. This leads into the Savage Christmas story because, like, I was just a writer and producer on Savage Christmas. I ended up being an accidental distributor with Bonsai and working under Robert Slaviero, who's like one of the biggest bookers in the country. Like, he did Rialto, and he's like lighting the cigars because they did I don't know, they had an obsession in Black Room, so he's like made it for the year +5. And so, but that was a fluke too. Like, none of them know what's happening. They don't know what's coming. None of us do. And so what I learned by going there was like, weirdly, I went as a producer only in 2023, and that's when I think I met Simon as well. And I was like, I think hopefully it didn't irritate Bonsai because they were our distributor at the time. We had a sales agent that we later like parted ways with because he just wasn't right for the film, right? And that sort of sucked for Savage Christmas internationally because we haven't really made like the headway we wanted to make. In this world, it's quite hard with 2 like trans leads in a world that's like really right. And so that's been hard in the last 3 years particularly.
Makes it more work.
It does make it more worth doing, and we've been doing it. But that was interesting. I was just like not happy because they came back and went, hey man, Savage Christmas, your first feature, awesome. We got it into 25 cinemas, and I was like, what? And Ben and I looked at like the budget, and we were going on average 25 cinemas versus the 30 grand we need to repay to the distributor for the minimum guarantee. I was like, we're gonna make 8 grand. We only got 22 owing. And like, we're not going to see any
And
of
you
that.
spent 7 years on it.
Yeah, exactly, we did. And so I went, no. I'm going to team up and get mentored by Robert Saviro, who obviously was the best booker in the country for theatrical for exhibition. And Jonathan Page from Bonsai is amazing, by the way. He like allowed me to do it. He was like, I hate when producers do it because it's so emotional and they don't know the sales. I'm like, man, I've been in the call center. I know sales. It's a numbers game. And I must say, I turned that in 25 to 52 cinemas. And I was just like me, just cold calling and emailing and going, I just really want to make a connection with you. This is my film. I really love it. I'm really proud of it. And like, I really want to be a distributor, but don't come at it like you're just a producer, because like they'll just be like, oh, he just wants this one film, and then I'm not going to get anything from them. So I was like, I'm doing this as like a tutelage for distribution. So that ended up making us 23,000, with only 7 to repay. How cool is that, right? Like, so then when we made the sale after that with all the other windows, like, so the actual was one avenue, right? And then after that, you get your offset, you get your 40%, awesome. And then you got to look at window 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Now, does everyone know, is this like, okay? So, 1, streamers, right? We know that's where the big money is, Netflix particularly, that's where you're going to make your, hopefully, your 50, 60, 70, you know, at the moment, it's getting
And
cheaper.
you go there after theatrical.
Sorry?
You go there after
You have to
theatrical.
go after theatrical because that's what poker, you know, obviously demand, and you have to get your 40% by doing that and then having a win, like having a break and then going to that first window, which is, we were lucky, I think, with, I don't mind sharing this, I think, I don't even know, they didn't share it with me, but Bonzo was that they
You're
let me
sharing
in,
with
but
the
then-
world.
but then they didn't let me in, so it was probably around $60,000-$70,000 for you for the license sale for Savage Christmas to go there. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Sorry, JP. I'm not trying to do that or like betray trust. But then after that, then there was like a free to air sale, which would be your second window. Okay, so like Channel 9, 7, 10, and then there'll be a third window, which is home entertainment, which is, you know, like you Google Play, Apple, like, you know, you usually, and there are, what's that? Amazon, absolutely, yeah. And then there's like, it's sort of more of a, becomes an aggregation where it's less, and like every window becomes less and less, right? And then there's also like, it's just the way, the nature of the beast. But you can also relicense things and do that. And then there's airlines as well after that. So there's like people that specialize in buying those for airlines, and that becomes like a fourth window. So hopefully you can have a long enough tail that I've learned now, because I'm actually doing all of sales. So usually people that just do theatrical, and then there's other people that just do like TV and all the other windows. I'm doing all of it for ours, which is an undertaking.
And essentially cutting out the middleman, so cutting out a lot of agency fees, which keeps more money in your pocket. Is that why?
Sorry, yeah, no, it did, because I'd already done it, I think, back when I was selling like our web series and stuff, and I didn't even know what a sales agent or a distributor was then, and I was just doing it and like making some sales then. So then it just made like a natural progression to go, well, yes, it is cutting out the middleman. Like, why have, this person just does theatrical, this person just does all the other window sales. It's like, why? So it's very archaic, and I must say, like, it is an archaic sort of system that is still run by like a lot of dudes.
Unfortunately. We're changing that, aren't we,
Yeah.
ladies? Yes, we are. You can find these boys at the bar, but I think just the last thing, one thing that both of these guys have taught me is that, and they do say, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and that is not a reason to give up. It's a reason to get your face in front of the people that you want to know you, and that's the difference. That's the attitude. Yes, you're right. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So get to know the people you need to know, and that's what both of these guys are talking. So can you just give them both a round of applause? And we need to get to stage now for our sign.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.